candy jingle like a tone-deaf little bird. I'm 7 years old. It's 1978. I've just ripped open a new pack of Now and Later candies, and the sunshine is streaming through the windows of my family Volkswagen van as my dad drives it down an Anaheim freeway. My mom is in the passenger seat. My older brother Bill looks at me through his geek glasses and says, "Hand him over," takes the candy from me. "Yeah," says my younger brother Joe, scrawny, freckled, age 6. "Take all you want," I say. I'm a tomboy with a bowl haircut, and I'm a chubby kid, and I like my candy. But today I'm willing to share it because today is the sweetest, most glorious day of all days. Today my family Volkswagen van is aimed straight for Disneyland. It's 2009. I'm 39 years old. I climb into the back of my mom's CRV to squeeze between my two fat heroin addict brothers. I know in the movies they only show you the good-looking skinny guy tying off in the bathroom. In Hollywood, fat heroin addicts are underrepresented. In my mom's CRV, they were overrepresented by about 130 pounds. So it's a tight squeeze for me between my two short, bearded brothers who look like a couple of punk rock Disney dwarfs. It's Phoenix in July, so the sun is beating on the car windows. My parents are in the front. And as I squeeze in the back between my two brothers, suddenly I'm hit with this flashback of squeezing between the two of them in grade school, back in the Volkswagen van. And I remember Bill smiling at Joe and saying, "Say left ball, just say it." And Joe said, "Left ball." And then Bill said, "Right ball." And there was this pause. And then Bill yelled, "Left ball, right ball, who's the dick in the middle?" And they both started punching me. After that, nobody wanted the dick in the middle seat of the car. So now, in 2009, I try to make the joke. I say, "Left ball, right ball, who's the dick in the middle?" But nobody laughs. I'm the girl. In my family, the female role is to be shocked by the humor and to shriek like my mom. Like back in grade school when I tried to explain why I didn't want to sit in the middle anymore. And my mom said, "But how could you be the dick in the middle, Molly? You're not a dick. You're just a little girl." Or the time that the whole family went to see the movie Alcatraz at the theater. And along came the prison shower scene. And this huge bald guy was eyeing Clint Eastwood. So my dad says, "Looks like Dirty Harry's gonna get cornholed." First of all, Clint Eastwood wasn't even playing Dirty Harry in this movie. Second of all, what kind of hillbilly uses a term like cornhole? In some families, cornhole is a game that you play with beanbags. In my family, my dad says, "Looks like Dirty Harry's gonna get cornholed." And my mom's like, "Mike!" And that's how it works. So I'm a butchie dyke squeezed on the mid-hump of a CRV because I now have the smallest ass in my family. And I try to take the girl role and make everybody around me happy. So I say, "Look guys, Dad's got a bald spot now." And I'm trying to make him seem safe to my brothers. I'm trying to make my brother Joe stop hating him. But the only sound in the car is the air conditioner blasting. And my mom looks like she's with the wrong family. She's got these big glasses that make her look like an owl. And she looks wholesome and white bread, like she should be driving her real family to church. Yet she's the only one in the car who looks happy. That's because she sets a low bar. She just wants everybody in the family to be alive and in the same physical spot. No matter what kind of shape we're in, my mom likes to take a family photo. Hi. Hi. I'm Molly McCloy, and I'm 45 years old, and I have struggled with depression my whole life. And I've tried meditation, I've tried yoga, And now I'm trying forgiveness. And forgiveness is everywhere on Facebook. There is no peace without forgiveness. Forgiveness needs no words, only an open heart. And I have brought some Facebook memes for you. This one is pink and it's got a butterfly in the corner. And it says, when you forgive, you release yourself from a painful burden. And then that must have really pissed off some grudgy person, because that person made a pink response meme that has a moth up in the corner. And it says, when you hold a grudge, you devote yourself to a higher cause. Making that asshole pay. So there's our ambivalence about forgiveness. And I started my forgiveness project by researching the fucked up McCloy family history. And so I went to Montana and talked to the family historian, my dad's cousin Dan, and I asked him to clarify a family myth. And I said, Dan, is it true that my great-grandfather liked to stab people with his dinner fork? And Dan said, I wouldn't say stabbed, I'd say jabbed, like this. So that's my great-grandfather. And then the next rung down is my grandfather, my dad's father. And he didn't use a fork, but he would backhand anybody that spoke at the table. And when my dad was 2 years old, he beat him with a board. And when my dad was a boy, my grandfather killed his dog with a hammer. These are my roots. It should be this beautiful story of the McCloys coming over from Ireland, homesteading in Montana, and working their way into the middle class. Instead, it's this fucked up story of mean-ass dads brutalizing their kids generation after generation. And it gets watered down a little bit each generation, so that when you get to the present day, you've got my brother complaining about our own dad and saying things like, no wonder I'm a heroin addict. It all goes back to that horrible trip to Disneyland. But here's the thing. I asked my dad for apologies in 1992. I wrote him a letter. I said, these are 9 things I'm really pissed off about, and I want you to apologize. And he wrote me back this beautiful letter with 9 paragraphs, a 1-paragraph apology for each of my grudges. And it began, there's no excuse for doing anything but loving you. I was wrong. I'm sorry and ashamed. But even with this letter, and all the backpacking trips that I've taken with my dad, and the 3 times that he's moved all of my shit across the country, and the beautiful toast that he gave for my lesbian wedding, yeah, I'm still pissed off about a fucking trip to Disneyland. And 8 other grudges. Grudge number 1. Easter 1980. I'm 9 years old. My brother Bill is 11, and Joe is 8. My mom is running an errand somewhere, and my dad is supposed to fill our Easter baskets. But when he goes to get the candy out of the closet, he finds out that the 3 of us got there first and ate a fourth of the candy. So he stomps through the house, roughly gathers up the Easter baskets and the Easter grass and the candy, and slams his way out the back door, with the 3 of us chasing after him. And this angry blur of my dad tornadoes his way over to the green trash dumpster and opens it and dumps in the Easter baskets, the Easter grass, the chocolate eggs, the chocolate bunnies, what's left of the jelly beans. He slams the lid down, whoosh, and the 3 of us scurry under our playground set slide like mice. And we watch my dad go back into the house and slam the door. Now what? The 3 of us crouch there under the playground set slide, coming to terms with the fact that my dad is the worst Easter bunny ever. Finally, Bill leans in and says, "We'll wait to get our revenge." And you have to take Bill seriously because he's a martial arts nut and he's got the best arsenal of any 11-year-old in the neighborhood, which includes 2 sets of nunchucks, 3 throwing stars, 1 switchblade, 1 random lawn dart, a set of brass knuckles, and a sawed-off wooden baseball bat with a lead core. Sometimes we all sneak out of Bill's window at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the mini-mart for candy, and we each carry a weapon. We wonder why the adults give us funny looks. "We'll wait," Bill says, "until Dad is old and feeble, like 80 years old. And then we'll wheel him out of the old folks' home in his wheelchair, and he'll think he's just going for a walk. But we'll wheel him up the steepest hill, and bang, we'll give him a big push." As my brother Bill laid out this plan, each of us was lost in our own little world, thinking about how beautiful it would be to kill our dad. This revenge plot in reality had a number of serious flaws. Number 1, if we were to wait till my dad was 80 years old, that would put each of us in our late 50s. But still, it was good. The wheelchair murder fantasy. From then on, any time that my dad was mean or unfair, down he went in the chair. This became the best coping strategy of my childhood. Grudge number 2. My brothers have been calling me lard ass. The kids at school have been calling me fat. And my dad is sitting right there on the couch. So I think, no, I shouldn't. I'm fat. I shouldn't. But the cake is right there. So I take the 3rd piece. And as I'm about to take my first bite, my dad says, "That cake must be calling out to you, Molly. Is it calling your name?" Apology number 2. I made fun of you for eating a piece of cake when you were fat and insecure. Mean and mocking, I asked if it was calling out to you. I noticed that you were unhappy with your physical appearance and used this as a weapon to hurt you. I should have given you support and love and respected your right to deal with your own body and diet. I was cruel. I apologize. Grudge number 3. I was always trying to bring out the best dad in my father. The guy that I got a glimpse of in 1976 when I was 6 years old, and I broke my art project that I was carrying home from school, which was this recipe holder made out of a clothespin and a baby food jar. And I felt terrible about breaking it, and I really thought I was going to be in big trouble. But my dad looked at it and he said, "This isn't your fault. Why do your teachers have like 6-year-olds carrying around glass jars everywhere?" And he picked up the clothespin and took it out of the little pile of glass and took it back to his workshop and glued it onto a chunk of wood. And he made that into the recipe holder. And so this was the dad that I was looking for just a few years later on his birthday, the kind dad, the fixer dad. April 12th, 1981. I'm 10 years old. I'm in the sunny dining room with my dad and my brothers. There are homemade curtains in the windows with red pom-poms. My mom is in the kitchen scrounging up candles. My dad is opening the birthday card that I've just given him. And I was really feeling it. I was really feeling good about my dad because he was really good about being nice to us in that 2-week window right before his birthday. And we've been riding bikes to the mini-mart to get popsicles together. So I was really feeling it when I wrote, "Your loving daughter, Molly." And so now as my dad begins to read the card, I wait for a smile or a hug. And he reads the opening greeting. And then he reads, "Your loving Dolly Donut, Molly." And my brothers both snicker at me, especially Joe, who at age 9 has already hardened into a nugget of rage. And he just crinkles his nose and shakes his head at me like, Of course expressing love is going to get you slapped down, you stupid girl. And this jolt of pain courses through me. And my body feels like this numb vault, like a 3-foot thick down coat. And my heart is a thumbtack floating in my gut. But if I stand stoic enough, it won't stab me. I won't let my brothers see me cry. In my mind, my 80-year-old dad is speeding down a steps in his wheelchair, and he hits a speed bump and his body goes flying into the air.
A therapist?
Eventually, a therapist had to tell me, in many families, it's fine to express love in a birthday card. But since my dad's dad had killed his dog with a hammer, maybe I should have celebrated his birthday by kicking him in the balls. Maybe I should have killed a bird and put it in his bed. Grudges 4 and 5. It's 1981. I'm 10 years old. I'm watching primetime TV with my family. I'm sitting on the couch next to my older brother Bill, age 12. He's grown his hair out to shoulder length, and he has metal frame glasses. And I despise him for his non-athletic wimpiness, but I love him for his musical taste and his ability to get my parents to take us to see the weirdest R-rated movies out there. And I'm a little tomboy, and I'm wearing the only dress that anybody can talk me into anymore, which is this prairie girl nightgown that my mom sews to match her own. On the TV, a prison commandant orders his prisoners to hold their arms out in a T. "What kind of wussy torture is that?" Bill says. "Yeah, they should make them pass around the gun with the one bullet," I say. Bill had recently talked my dad into taking us to see Apocalypse Now. And Easy Rider. The whole family had gone to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show together. "Have you kids ever tried to hold your arms out like that for a long time?" my dad says. And I think, nah, but it still sounds pretty wimpy. "Can we change the channel and stay up late to watch Three's Company?" Bill says. "Mike," Mom says. My dad grunts. "Oh, is it the yes grunt? I'm not sure." Click, click, click goes the channel dial. The prison commandant disappears. And then, "Come on, knock on our door." Bill has done it again. It's this huge rush to stay up past 9 o'clock and to be watching these young hip adults with no parents and no kids, and one of them is acting gay. And we think that's really funny and really great, and so we started acting, pretending to be gay the way people would do in the early 80s, which is the limp wrist thing and the lisping, and we're really getting into it. And then it's bedtime. And my parents go to bed in their room. But I linger, joking with my brothers in their doorway. And my dad yells, "Quiet down! Time for bed!" And I say, "San Francisco." My brothers giggle. "Quiet down, get in your own room, time for bed." I just want to do one more. "Mississippi," I said. I watch my brother Joe laugh, but then he goes silent, and just as his eyes clamp shut, I feel a shadow come over me, and I feel my hair being yanked from behind. And I'm dragged by my hair to the floor, and I'm dragged by my arms across the shag carpet. And my legs flail, and the nightgown flips up, showing my underwear. And my body bangs into the wall and catches on the corner. And my dad looks down, and because I've slowed his progress in dragging me into the living room, he kicks me in the chest. "You two get out here too," he yells to my brothers. And soon the three of us are standing in the living room, blocking my dad's view of the turned off TV set, as my dad sits on the couch glaring at us. My mom is somewhere in the hallway. She keeps drifting in and out of the doorway in that white nightgown, like a white ghost. I'm wearing the matching nightgown, My brothers are in their tighty-whities. Put your arms up like this and keep them up, my dad says. I guess he's gonna get to watch his stupid movie after all. I put my arms up, but my anger rises. I feel defiant. Fuck you. I'm gonna keep my arms up all night, motherfucker, I think. In my mind, my 80-year-old dad speeds down a steep San Francisco street in his wheelchair, and a semi-truck plows into him, and he's dragged under huge turning tires. I want to look defiantly into his eyes, but there's so much rage, it's like staring into the sun. So I look down, but I think I'm going to keep my arms up until the sun comes up. But then my arms start to burn, and they're starting to burn, and they're starting to hurt. And I look over, and oh no, Bill, that damn wimp. He's starting to wimp out. His arms are drooping. I don't know where Joe is anymore. My mom keeps coming in and out of the doorway, and then Bill drops his arms to his sides. Keep him up, my dad says. I can't, Bill says. Wimp, I think. And then Bill takes a step towards the hallway. It's so quiet that I can hear the hum of the refrigerator. And then Bill takes a second step towards the hallway. My God, it's one of the bravest things I've seen anybody do. I was wrong. He wasn't wimping out. He was walking out on the whole damn game. My brother was ending the game for all of us. My mom notices what Bill noticed first, that my dad is snapped out of his Mr. Hyde rage. And she says, Mike, come to bed. And he just follows her into the bedroom. I will always love Bill for this and for everything else. I love him so much that it spills over. And if I meet you and your name just happens to be Bill, I will love you just for being named Bill. And no matter where I am, if his favorite song, Heroes by David Bowie, comes on, I will turn it all the way up and sing my heart out. I didn't wear my nightgown anymore after that. Sometimes I wore all my clothes to bed. I got athlete's foot from wearing my shoes to bed. The next day, Joe and I corner my mom. She's been gone at college a lot, so she's usually gone when Dad goes crazy. But she was there this time. We've got a solid game plan, so I say, Mom, let's ditch Dad and go live in the free lunch apartments. All of our friends' parents are splitting up, and the kids go live with their moms in this apartment complex where everybody's on the free lunch plan. And all of our friends are there, and there's this big swimming pool, and it just looks like this huge party. So we think we've got a really solid game plan. Okay, Mom says, I need to finish college though, and then we'll go. Can you guys just hang on? Later, it will seem like the only thing that she heard was that we wanted a pool. Because my family will move to a nicer house in the richer neighborhood, and we get a pool with an 8-foot deep end and a diving board. It was the single moment of my life when I felt most worthless, when my dad kicked me in the chest. People say you can't carry this stuff around. The anger only hurts you. You have to forgive. But what do we even mean by forgiveness? We've all seen the forgiveness fakers. The woman says, I'm fine. The guy that's drinking a tumbler of whiskey, he's fine too. Psychologists at the University of Wisconsin recently did a study on using forgiveness therapy with abused wives. And they had to limit the study to women who had ended the relationship 2 or more years prior to the study, because they knew women who had more recently separated would confuse forgiveness for reconciliation and just go back to the abusive relationship. It's a fine line between being enlightened and being a sucker. And the old kind of therapy, the stuff about embracing anger, that stuff's really good for getting somebody out of the abusive relationship. But if you stay angry, then you're just hurting yourself. So what's the line between holding someone accountable and holding a grudge? Forgiveness is tricky. Everyone tells you to forgive, but no one tells you how to do it. Apology for 4 and 5. This was cruel, unreasonable, brutal, and vicious. I apologize. Grudge number 6. Molly, you're gonna live in a shack, but you're gonna drive a Mercedes. My friend Kimmy says, it's 1982, the new house. It's July, we've only lived there a month. It's my birthday slumber party and I'm turning 12. Kimmy and Lisa and I are all fat girls. So we are stoked to have a private pool to swim in so no random dickhead can swim up and call us lardasses. We have been swimming and eating pizza and cake, and now we are piled on my bed in our damp swimsuits playing MASH, mansion, apartment, shack, house. We crack up laughing, but then bap, bap, bap. My dad knocks on the door and growls, quiet down. And we whisper for a little while. And then we talk like we're at the library. And then I tell Lisa, you're gonna live in a mansion and drive a Jeep, but your husband is Adam Davis. And she says, no, not Adam Davis. Because Adam picks up sewer roaches and holds them up to girls' faces. We howl with laughter. We get so loud that I'm worried I might get dragged out of my room and kicked. But no, it's my birthday, right? We giggle until midnight and fall asleep in our swimsuits and don't wake up until we hear the roar of the lawnmower swiping right underneath my window. I look at the clock and it's 5:30 a.m. I'm immediately filled with dread. He's going really fast, my dad, like he's jogging with the lawnmower. After 15 minutes of this, the mower shuts off. Then, the tree trimmer buzzes on. There's 20 more minutes of that. Then quiet. Good, I think. My birthday punishment is just passive-aggressive lawn work. Then, bap, bap, bap. Rise and shine, my dad says, coming into my room. Get up, get dressed, there's work to do. My slumber party guests and I spend the next hour picking up my dad's tree trimmings and putting them in a pile. I'm so humiliated I can't even look at the other girls. And I'm too busy working with my dad's knees banging into my back as I carry the branches. I wonder if my mom ever played MASH. Candy McCloy, you're gonna live in a house, drive a Honda, and marry a man who can turn a slumber party into a chain gang. My mom leaves my dad for 6 months. And then he's back, and he's sneakier. He attends family meetings and pretends to go along with them. I start smoking pot with my brothers before I start 7th grade. If I'm gonna get in trouble when I'm doing nothing wrong, I might as well do whatever the hell I want. Grudge number 7, 1987, at the suburban house. Shoot that poison arrow through my heart. Shoot that poison arrow. I'm playing my new ABC album and I turn on my blow dryer when suddenly all light and sound is drained out of my room. There's no storm, but the power is out. I walk into the living room with the light where the lights are on, and my dad sits on the couch reading his paper. Turn that music off. Turn that music down, you can have your power back, he says. And I go back to my room, and sure enough, my stereo volume is set at the level agreed upon at the family meeting. That bastard is fucking with me while I'm following the rules. I've had enough. It's all just piled up. The kicking, the dragging, the arm torture, the birthday card mocking and fat baiting, the slumber party chain gang. This time the wheelchair murder fantasy is not enough. I'm going to join my brother's brewing revolution. My brothers, age 19 and 16, don't even call my dad Dad anymore. They call him Mad Dog. Or Mad Dog Mike. They've started narrating his tantrums. Mad Dog's gonna blow, Joe will say. We'll watch my dad slam and kick a door. Now they like to piss off Mad Dog on purpose. My brothers leave random patches of the lawn unmowed. They dump full bottles of vegetable oil down the drain so that it'll clog and they can laugh at my dad while he's clearing the clog. Bill has been trying to get me to listen to the Sex Pistols for months. And now as I grab what I need for my room, I see his poster of Sid Vicious with safety pins stuck in his lips, and I finally get it. And I think, punk rock? I like you. I march back into the living room. Hey, Dad, I say. He turns and looks at me with that rage. I aim and shoot. He's sitting on the same couch where he played Prison Commandant years ago. He's got that same rage in his eyes. I developed a picture and pass it around to my brothers, and we laugh at him, our Mad Dog Dad, the shirtless, ridiculous maniac. Doing drugs with my brothers and laughing at our dad feels really great for a while. Even now, I can understand the temptation to just spend your whole life doing that. Towards the end of my senior year of high school, in a major triumph for the punk rock coup, my dad starts counseling and lets up on the tantrums a bit. And there's this brief truce that goes on for a few years, into my college years, when Bill and Joe decide to actually get him a birthday present. Bill says, "Let's get Mad Dog a t-shirt off the clearance rack at the head shop." And they get him this t-shirt that looks exactly like you would get off the clearance rack at the head shop. It features the image of this large-breasted woman wearing a chainmail bikini and riding side saddle on a dinosaur. I'm the only one that notices that my dad likes to wear it when we have to be in public with him. He wears it to my college graduation. Grudge number 8 has no time and place, and is just a blanket grudge for all the shitty things my dad ever did to anyone else in my family. Apology for grudge number 8 goes like this. I purposely hurt Mom, Bill, and Joe while you had to watch helplessly. You loved them and were hurt just as much, even if the attack was not aimed at you. I abused them. I apologize. I spent my brother's heroin, detox, relapse, heroin years, 2000 to 2009, trying to convince my brothers that the dad I was now going backpacking with was a nice guy. To me, he was. He'd always carry more weight and go grocery shopping for the trips. And out in the middle of the woods, my antisocial dad was always at his best. During this time, I was also trying to get my dad to apologize to my brothers. It's 2000. We're in a circle in the living room for Joe's heroin intervention. The whole family. I don't like the cut rate intervention counselor. So I've told my dad he should just toss aside his intervention script and apologize to Joe. And he does it. Joe, he says, I'm sorry if I hurt you when you were younger. Watching you hurt yourself now is breaking my heart. Will you get help, Joe? Joe looks at my dad like he's reading a bus schedule. Oh, I'll think about it, he says. It's as if my dad wrote your loving dad, Mike, on the intervention and Joe mocked him. Joe learned the lesson well. It's perfect that this comes from Joe, who used to say to me, remember that trip to Disneyland, Molly? Going in, you were singing that Now and Later song, and coming home, you were crying and singing the same song. You should have known better. I start writing about the Grudges and make the mistake of interviewing my brothers. Bill says, "You don't remember Dad punching me in the nose? You were right there." And after Joe refuses to get treatment, he's shunned by the family as instructed by the drug counselor. And after 5 years of this, when I break the rule and contact him, Joe says, "At least unlike Dad, I'm a nice guy. Would you rather hang out with someone who is addicted and nice than sober and a prick?" The isolation eventually lasts for that 9 whole years. Somewhere in the middle of it, I start wondering if my dad is just using the intervention to reject my brother. Maybe I let my dad off too easily. Maybe I was as much of a fool as my mom. At counseling during this time, I get to the root of my depression. I actually have a fear of happiness. Cherophobia. When I was a kid, as soon as things were light and we were having a good time, down came the dog hammer. Happiness made my dad so nervous that he had to stop it. You might also have this fear, so here is a list of statements psychologists use to identify a fear of happiness. I am frightened to let myself become too happy. I worry that if I feel good, something bad could happen. If you feel good, you let your guard down. Easter, my dad's birthday, my birthday. And then there's this for my dad's apology. I wanted you and the rest of the family to struggle, I guess, as some sort of a punishment for trying and daring to be happy. Grudge number 9. Picture a little girl, age 7, just inside the gates of Disneyland. She's refusing to leave. "No," she says, "I'm not leaving until I get my balloon." She'd been talked out of the Mouseketeer ears because they were too expensive. She wanted a balloon, but she'd been talked out about getting it at the beginning of the day because nobody wanted to carry it around. And she's been good all day, and she's been promised this balloon, but her dad is fleeing Disneyland. Her dad, who fears happiness because his dad killed his dog with a hammer, is fleeing the happiest place on earth. She wants her balloon. And her younger brother is watching to see what happens next. These small children haven't learned yet, over and over, not to feel entitled to anything. This will be the first time. The girl is pulled out of the gates of Disneyland, told by her mom that there will be balloons outside the gates. The girl knows it's not true. There are no balloons outside the gates when they get there. The girl starts crying uncontrollably. This is my earliest grudge. I stood there just asking for what I'd been promised. My God, it sounds stupid. I didn't get a balloon at Disneyland. It's just that even now, at age 45, anytime I need something, like a new jacket when my old one is full of holes, I find myself feeling small again, like I'm standing in that Disneyland parking lot, asking what I'm worth. And it sounds so silly, the affirmations. I have value, I deserve to be happy. It's been exhausting to build myself all by myself. It's what everyone has to do, I guess, to grow up. Apology number 9. If a balloon was going to make you feel loved, I should have realized it, or at least taken a chance for $1 or $2. You were doing exactly the right thing, trying to be happy. I abused you. I apologize. It's 2009. The birthday celebration is over, and we are in the parking lot, walking back to the CRV, and I noticed something. My dad is wearing that shirt. The one from the truce, the one with the woman in the chainmail bikini riding side saddle on a dinosaur. Then I noticed something else. My dad had worn that shirt to my college graduation, which was 1993, and this is 2009, so that shirt is 16 years old. And it's in perfect condition. The dye hasn't faded at all. My dad has been preserving this shirt. So I say, hey Dad, do you only wear that shirt on special occasions? And he says, yep. But my brothers don't notice the t-shirt because they're trying to one-up each other as they talk sarcastically about what a genius performance artist Gigi Allen is because he eats his own feces on stage. He's the only one that really takes it to the limit, Joe says. All my life I've wondered why my dad didn't just stop doing the kind of stuff that was done to him as a kid. But maybe he tried harder than I'll ever know. My dad is 70 years old, and I'm not going to wheelchair him. Looking at the bright side, we got a family with 2 heroin addicts, but neither of them is dead. What I want for my family now is something like that moment in a low-budget motel in Anaheim the night before Disneyland, when my dad took one of the non-helium free balloons he'd gotten at the bank and rubbed it on his hair and stuck it to the wall and said, "See, it's static," and showed Bill how to do it, and we all did it. The ridiculous rubbing of balloon on hair, so 5 balloons hung there like magic on the motel wall, and we all laughed. I wanted my Disney balloon so I could take it back to the motel again. I wanted science to rub a helium balloon against my hair to see if it would stick to the wall too. I wanted to conjure up a moment of family laughter, to control it and to repeat it, and to make us all happy right when I wanted it, like a little magician. And as much as I still want that, I can't do it. But I can do this. Let's go. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys all so much for coming. Let's hear one more time for Molly. Is the bar working now?
It'll be slow. We have a bank outside of the register, so.
Okay, the bar is working, kind of. Cash? I don't know. I'll run out and get change if somebody needs it. We're gonna stick around here and hang out. Please hang out with us. Thanks again so much.